जय राधा कुंज बिहारी।
जय राधा कुंज बिहारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी।
गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
जय राधा गिरिवरधारी।
गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
जय राधा माधव
जय राधा माधव
कुंज बिहारी।
कुंज बिहारी।
यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना। यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना। यमुनातीरावन चारी। यमुनातीरावन चारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना। यमुनातीरावनचारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Chant Hare Krishna. जय राधा गोविंद राधे। जय गौरानीताय जय गौरानीताय। जय जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद। नीताय गौर हरि बोल गौर हरि बोल। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्तोत्र श्री श्रीमद् डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रीला प्रभुपाद की, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की, नामाचार्य शील हरिदास ठाकुर की। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की। कलयुग पावन श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन महायज्ञ की, हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam, devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayet. नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया, भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna. We are reading from Canto 3, Chapter 28, entitled Kapila's Instructions on Devotional Service. Verse number 3. Do you know? Yeah. Gramya dharma nivrittischa moksha dharma ratistatha mita medyadanam shashvad vivikta kshema sevanam. Gramya dharma nivrittischa moksha dharma ratistatha mita medyadanam shashvad vivikta kshema sevanam. Gramya dharma nivrittischa moksha dharma ratistatha mitamedhyadanam shashvad vivikta kshema sevanam. Gramya dharma nivrittischa moksha dharma ratistatha mitamedhyadanam shashvat vivikta kshemam sevanam. Gramya dharma nivrittischa moksha dharma ratistatha mitamedhyadanam shashvat kshema sevanam. Mataji's. Gramya dharma viviktascha nivrittascha moksha dharma ratistatha mitamedhyadanam shashvad vivikta kshema sevanam. Gramya dharma viviktas nirvritascha moksha dharma ratistatha Mita medhyadanam shashvat Vivikta kshema sevanam. Gramya, conventional, dharma, religious practice, nivritti, ceasing, cha, and moksha, for salvation, dharma, religious practice, ratihi, being attracted to, tatha, in that way, mita, little, medhya, pure, adanam, eating, shashvat, always, vivikta, secluded, kshema, peaceful, sevanam, dwelling. Translation and purport by Sri Prabhupada, Sri Prabhupada Ki. One should cease performing conventional religious practices and should be attracted to those which lead to salvation. One should eat very frugally and should always remain secluded so that he can achieve the highest perfection of life. Please repeat. One should cease performing conventional religious practices and should be attracted to those which lead to salvation. One should eat very frugally and should always remain secluded so that he can achieve the highest perfection of life. Purport. It is recommended herein that religious practice for economic development or the satisfaction of sense desires should be avoided. Religious practices should be executed only to gain freedom from the clutches of material nature. It is stated in the beginning of Srimad Bhāgavatam that the topmost religious practice is that by which one can attain to the transcendental devotional service of the Lord without reason or cause. Such religious practice is never hampered by any impediments, and by its performance one actually becomes satisfied. Here, this is recommended as moksha dharma, religious practice for salvation or transcendence of the clutches of material contamination. Generally, people execute religious practices for economic development or sense gratification. But that is not recommended for those who want to advance in yoga. The next important phrase is mita medhyadanam, which means that one should eat very frugally. It is recommended in the Vedic literatures that a yogi eat only half what he desires according to his hunger. If one is so hungry that he could devour 1 pound of foodstuff, then instead of eating 1 pound, he should consume only half a pound and supplement this with 4 ounces of water. 1/4 of the stomach should be left empty for passage of air in the stomach. If one eats in this manner, he will avoid indigestion and disease. The yogi should eat in this way, as recommended in the Srimad Bhāgavatam and all other standard scriptures. The yogi should live in a secluded place where his yoga practice will not be disturbed. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I would like to seek the blessings of all the devotees before we start discussing from Srimad Bhāgavatam. Gramya dharma nivrittischa moksha dharma ratistatha mita medyadanam shashvat vikta kshema sevanam. One should cease performing conventional religious practices and should be attracted to those which lead to salvation. One should eat very frugally and should always remain secluded so that he can achieve the highest perfection of life. In the beginning of purport, Sri Prabhupada explains religious practice for economic development or satisfaction of sense desires should be avoided. So, in the purport, Sri Prabhupada explains in the first stanza of the purport that religion is actually meant for satisfaction of the self and to perform, that is done by performing devotional service on the platform of ahaituki apratihata. So what is religion and what is not religion? What is the purpose of religion and what is not the purpose of religion? So what is not the purpose of religion is very important to understand, because nowadays the book distributors or the preachers, they have a better idea. If you go and tell people that we belong to a religion, people get scared, isn't it? Why? Because as soon as you say religion, they have different connotations attached to it, different understanding of what religion is. So in today's world, religion means wars. In today's world, religion means terrorism. In today's world, religion means worship of some mundane idols, isn't it? Religion means blind beliefs, rules, and rituals. And this is what people want to stay far away from. When I was in Boston, we used to preach at MIT. In MIT, they also have a religious club called as atheism. It's a religious club in MIT. Till then, I used to think MIT is a house of smart people. But then they proved me wrong. Because how can, actually one of the chaplains, he makes a statement. He says that all other religions, like the Hindu club, the Christianity club, the Islam club, Zoroastrian, Baha'i faith, they all have one thing in common, that they admit to a superior power. But atheistic club, they don't consider anyone to be superior power. They rather say God doesn't exist. So for them, God, who is God? No God is their God. How foolish it is that they actually have a club, a religious category. So in this way, we find in this world today, what is not religion has become, or what is religion has become very difficult to understand, isn't it? Because of too many distractions. So if you go to the news and see conversion, many people are scared of religion because they're scared of conversion, brainwashing. Even sometimes as devotees, one is concerned about what is the population of Hindus in the world. Sri Prabhupada said, we don't care for Hinduism. We are not Hindus, isn't it? So you will find many Christians, they go to the poor section of society, in India at least, we know. Places like Tamil Nadu or Andhra, go to the poor section of society and tell them, why don't you convert to our faith? Why? Because if you do so, we'll give you food and shelter. Sometimes they even pay them, isn't it? So in this way, they get millions and millions of people converting to their religion. And they think, now the question is, which religion is the world's largest religion? That's the most successful religion. Is it? It's not. Why? Because they're not pursuing love of God. They're getting a shelter above their head and food in their stomach. That is not the purpose of religion, isn't it? So now in other place you'll find the Muslims are saying, we want to become the largest religion by 2050. So then what we have to do? Let's reproduce as many as possible and increase the Islamic people. So if you produce like 10, 20, even sometimes they produce 40 offsprings, just so that they can increase the Muslim population, and they are given awards if you can do that. This is the religion. So, in this way, people get scared of religion because people find that this is all simply some sort of a monopoly of who is the biggest, who is the greatest, who is superior, who is inferior. Actually, religion has nothing to do with these, isn't it? Similarly, if you look at the wars, it is said the Israel Palestine war is a religious war. India Pakistan is a religious war. The civil wars in Sudan, civil wars in Lebanon, different countries in Africa, they consider to be religious wars. But they have nothing to give and take with religion. Religion is used as a scapegoat for the leaders to get their agenda fulfilled. That's all. So therefore, people today, they want to stay far away from religion. Or people quote statements like, if one actually spreads their particular religion by hook or crook, by terrorism, then the Supreme God, the Almighty, will be pleased with them. Isn't it? So in this way, people are spreading wars and terrorism. Or to some people, they feel religion means blind rules and beliefs. Like in one marriage, as the couple were getting married, they saw the husband immediately got up at the time when he was supposed to tie the necklace, the nuptial necklace around his wife, the to be wife. He immediately got up from the yajna and went, brought a cat, tied it to a pole nearby, and sat down. So immediately the people, they were shocked. What just happened? And they asked him. He said, this is for auspiciousness. And they asked him, why? How does this increase auspiciousness? To have a cat tied around the pole in the marriage ceremony. And this bridegroom said, my great grandfather, when he was sitting in his marriage, they had a cat tied around the pole and they were married till the end of their lives. My grandfather had a cat tied around a pole in their marriage, and they had a successful marriage. Similarly, my father had a cat tied around the pole during his marriage, and they haven't divorced yet. And therefore, I'll also have a cat tied around a pole. So, what had actually happened during the time of the great grandfather's marriage, there were too many cats, or there were too many mice. So, as the yajna would happen, the mice would go and bite the offering and go away. Then it becomes muchi, untouchable. You cannot offer it in the yajna. The mice would come, they would eat the ghee, they would eat the rice grains, eat the fruits and go away. So therefore they had tied a cat to the pole just to make sure the mice won't trouble them. But because this fellow did not understand, or any of this generation people didn't understand, so he thought this cat is tied for auspiciousness. So even though he doesn't have a rat problem, but he's tying a cat, thinking that it will increase auspiciousness. So in this way, sometimes when you go to Indians, you give them a Gita copy. They say, I already have a copy of Bhagavad Gita. You ask them, have you read it? They say, no. I have it in my puja room. In my puja room, the Bhagavad Gita is nicely wrapped in a red velvet cloth and worshipped daily. But have you read at least once? No, I never opened it. Isn't it? Why? Because people think if I can just worship Bhagavad Gita, that is sufficient. Some people say, take this, when we give them a copy of the Gita, they say, I cannot touch it. Why? Because I just had chicken. Okay, then we put them in a covered bag and give. You take it and take it with you. Still they will not take. Isn't it? Some people say, we have a program in the temple. So we call all the students. And then one student fails to come. We ask him, we do the follow-up every time. So when we do his follow-up and ask him, why, what happened, why didn't you come? He said, because yesterday I went for partying with my friends. So I was not very pure. So therefore I didn't come to the temple. And all their own mental speculation. Why not to come to the temple? For that they have a lot of mental speculated ideas. Why not to come to the temple? Isn't it? So in this way, sometimes blind rules and superstition is considered to be religion. And therefore people are not attracted to religion. Or some places you will find people consider sometimes some tribal people worship elements. They worship earth to be God. They worship fire to be God. They worship water to be God. In this way, they consider different things, or they have ancestral worship, isn't it? So, because of this, there is no focus given to the purpose of religion, that is prema pumarto mahan. And therefore, people want to stay far, far away from religion. Actually, in one lecture, these are very external reasons why people don't take to religion. In one lecture, my spiritual master was speaking. The lecture is called as Empty Husk. It's just 15-minute lecture. Usually my spiritual master is not known for speaking in just 15-minute lectures. But in this lecture, he just spoke one point. He said, you can have the best decorated temple, you can have the best of kirtanyas creating a vibrant kirtan in the temple hall, you can have the best speakers speaking on the Vyasasan, you can have the most beautiful deities with the most adorable decoration for them. But still, if there is no unity amongst devotees, then a person who comes new to the temple for the first time, he will see that these people, though they have everything external very nice, but because they are not able to come together and together perform something nice for Krishna, new people can sense any tinge of disunity, isn't it? That means he was emphasizing, if we ourselves, whatever show we may put up, we can put up. But if we ourselves fail to conquer over lust, anger, greed, pride, and illusion, then actually a new person can sense it. That means I can be proud, I've spent 3 decades in the movement, and then order everyone around me to serve me. A new person will not be attracted to such religion. I can pose myself as a great renunciant, but there can be in some news which comes out in the newspaper about my scandal, isn't it? Happens across the globe. So therefore, people want to stay away from religion. Why? Because they can sense that Kali has entered here. Because Kali means quarrel and hypocrisy. So therefore, what is not religion? Anything that induces Kali is not religion. It is not religion means what? It is Maya. It is Maya in the form of religion. Any religion that is not propagating love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, if it is not creating harmony, if it is not spreading peace, then it is not proper religion. Isn't it? Her Grace Rukmini Mataji was saying, sometimes people hear Srila Prabhupada's lectures and find certain aspects of Srila Prabhupada where Prabhupada says, rascal scientists. Oh, sorry, not Rukmini Mataji, I think it was His Grace Vrajavihari Prabhu. He was saying, sometimes we hear Prabhupada and we adore the personality of where Prabhupada is crushing the scientists, he's calling everyone rascal, he's calling theories nonsense, and we may try to imbibe that and try to preach. But he said often we fail to see those aspects of Prabhupada where Prabhupada was very mild, where Prabhupada was tolerant, where Prabhupada was humble, where Prabhupada was shedding tears, where Prabhupada was grateful. These things we actually forget. So sometimes what happens, even though we may be part of Krishna consciousness, we may be actually spreading also quarrel. So therefore, what is not religion? That which breeds quarrel and hypocrisy is not religion. That is not spirituality. And therefore people like to say, are you religious? No, I'm spiritual. That's what they say. Isn't it? Of course, we are also smart. We also say, yeah, Krishna consciousness for spiritual people. It's not religion. Yes, it is not religion. Why? It is not religion what you think religion to be. So in the 6th canto of Srimad Bhāgavatam, when the Yamadutas are dealing with Vishnu Dutas, that time the definition of dharma is given. Dharma has different definitions. One of the definitions is dharma, Prabhupada translates to be religion. But what is it? Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. Prabhupada, it is mentioned in the 6th canto of Srimad Bhāgavatam. So dharma is the words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Dharmam tu sakshat Bhagavat Pranitam. That means dharma has been ordained to the living entities by Krishna. So these instructions are put forth by the Supreme Lord. So anything other than the words of the Supreme Lord is called as Kaitava Dharma. Kaitava Dharma means cheating religion. Dharma projita kaitavatra paramo nirmatsaranam satam Vedyam vastavamatra vastu shivadam tapatronmulanam Srimad Bhāgavate Mahamuni Krite Kim va parerishvaraha Sadyoridyavarudhyate kritibihi Shushushubistakshanat. That means what is pure religion is spoken here. Religion means that which kicks out any Kaitava dharma. And Bhagavatam is proper religion. It's a true religion because Bhagavatam, in the second verse, it is spoken that how Srimad Bhagavatam actually kicks out all these cheating religions of dharma, artha, kama and moksha. Isn't it? It doesn't talk about how Varnashrama dharma is the supreme. It doesn't say. Daivi Varnashrama, yes. Because in Daivi Varnashrama, the focus is on service to Krishna. According to Daivi Varnashrama, a Brahmana may pick up a broom and sweep the floor. Though Brahmana means what? Yajin Yajan Patan Patan Dan Pratigya. He is only supposed to study and teach. He is supposed to do yajna or participate in a yajna. He is supposed to receive charity and give charity. This is a Brahmana. But in Daivi Varnashrama, whatever pleases Krishna, they do it. In Daivi Varnashrama, Shruti and Kirtan or Shravanam and Kirtan is foremost. Everything else is secondary. Isn't it? So therefore, Dharmam to Sakshat Bhagavat Pranita means what does Krishna say in the Vedas? That is actual Dharma. And therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita, when Arjuna says, just to summarize everything for Arjuna, finally to give him one instruction, Krishna summarizes the entire Bhagavad Gita in one shloka. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. Sarva dharman parityajya means what? Any dharma which is contradicting the actual dharma of surrender to me has to be given up. That means what? Family dharma, if it's contradicting one's surrender to Krishna, has to be put aside. Any conventional, like in this verse, it is mentioned Gramya Dharma. Gramya Dharma means there can be many dharmas which one is following as tradition. If someone says it is my tradition to eat meat, but it is not helping you surrender to Krishna, put it aside. In my village, everyone actually speaks very, they actually, when they speak very harshly. This is my dharma. Put it aside. So it doesn't help you in surrender to Krishna. So any dharma which is contradicting the ultimate dharma, one has to put it aside. That is Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. And Krishna says, anyone who does this, who surrenders to me, then for them, aham tam sarva papevi mokshishyami masuchaha. I will protect them from all kinds of fears. So therefore, in Chaitanya Manjusha or some literature it is mentioned, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives the topmost religion. And what is that? Aradhyo Bhagavan Vrajesha Tanayas Taddama Vrindavanam Ramya Kajitupasana Vrajavadhu Vargena Ya Kalpita Srimad Bhāgavatam Pramanam Amalam Prema Pumarto Mahan Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhur Matamidam Tatradaro Naparaha. That is, who has to be worshipped in the topmost religion? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, in the topmost religion, who is the God whom we worship? Aradhya Bhagavan Vrajesha Tanayas, the son of Vrindavan, of Vraj, the darling of Vraj. That is Krishna. And the supreme abode we want to attain is Golok Vrindavan. And the type of love we want to practice is Ramya Kajitupasana Vrajavadu Vargena Yakalpita. That means the type of bhakti which was practiced by the gopis of Vrindavan. And for us, our pramana is Srimad Bhāgavatam, which is called as spotless Purana. And the goal is Prema Pumarto Mahan. And this is the verdict of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So therefore, when we talk about dharma means attaining this love of God. So we are not concerned with conversion of Hindu, Muslim Christianity. We don't care. Any religion, if someone practices with the goal of attaining love for Krishna, love for God, we say you practice that religion. That's what Sri Prabhupada did. Whenever he would actually travel, he would never say convert to Hare Krishna. Never. He would preach love of God and he would say if your religion preaches love of God, it is perfect. You'll see that. He never said any religion is wrong. Yes, that religion is wrong, which is a cheating religion. In the name of religion, they're pursuing economic development. In the name of religion, they're pursuing superiority complex. These religions are wrong. So therefore, when you come back to the purport, Sri Prabhupada is explaining, yes, religious practice for economic development or satisfaction of sense desires should be avoided. Religious practices should be executed only to gain freedom from the clutches of material nature. That means one has to religion means what? That process which actually helps us transcend material nature is called the proper religion. And what is that? Prabhupada is quoting a shloka. Does anyone know which shloka does he quote in the first para? Very famous verse. Savai pumsa paro dharmo. Can you repeat? Yatho bhakti radhokshaje ahaitu ki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. Does anyone know the translation? Mike me.
Our occupation for humanity is that by which men can attain the loving service of the Supreme Lord. Such service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted in order to completely satisfy the self.
Yes, thank you. Yes, so when we practice the paro dharma means we understood what is paro dharma. Yato bhaktir adhokshaje. That means the love, attaining love and performing bhakti as devotional service to the Supreme Lord Adhokshaja or to Krishna is paro dharma. And what is the symptom we are practicing paro dharma? How to practice ahaitukya pratyata? What is the symptom that we are actually practicing it properly? Yayatma suprasidati. There is satisfaction in the individual. So, in the first canto, in 1.2.6 purport, Sri Prabhupada says something very nice. See, the sages of Naimisharanya, they ask 6 questions to Suta Goswami, which forms the basis for Srimad Bhāgavatam. So in the 6 questions, first question is, what do they ask? Any idea? Those of you who read Bhāgavatam, attend weekly Bhāgavatam, what is the first thing they ask? The sages of Naimisharanya, they ask 6 questions. That's Parikshit asks. What do the sages of Naimisharanya ask Suta Goswami? The first question. Oh, can you repeat? It's not duty, it is, remember? No, that's the second question. First question they ask is what is the ultimate good for all people in general? That's the first question. And therefore 1.2.6 and 1.2.7 Suta Goswami says that this is the ultimate good. What is it? Performing pure, unmotivated, uninterrupted devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, is the ultimate good for everyone, not essence. Essence comes later. So, in that purport, Sri Prabhupada says, he says in the purport that there are 2 types of paths for religion. One is pravritti marga, one is nivritti marga. Pravritti marga means dharma, artha, kama, moksha. That means you enjoy also in this world and look for liberation. That can take millions of lifetimes. So therefore what we practice, what the Vaishnava Sampradayas practice is called as nivritti marga. Nivritti marga means marg of renunciation. We don't perform dharma, artha, kama, moksha. We directly go for prema pumarto mahan. Of all the items, of the goals of religion, the topmost goal is prema, Krishna prema. So therefore, the Nivritti Marga goal is that one. And Prabhupada says, the material existence of a living being is a diseased condition of actual life. Actual life is spiritual existence. And material existence is temporary, illusory, full of miseries. There is no happiness at all. This is sometimes polluted. Yeah, okay, sorry. Before that he says, but devotional service to the Supreme Lord which leads one to eternal, blissful and all cognizant life is called the superior quality of occupation. This is the topmost. But this is sometimes polluted with the inferior quality of what? Of material gain. What is that inferior quality? Prabhupada gives an example. For example, adoption of devotional service for material gain is certainly an obstruction to the progressive path of renunciation. Renunciation or abnegation of ultimate good is certainly a better occupation than enjoyment in the diseased condition of life. Why? Because enjoyment only aggravates the symptoms of disease and increases its duration. Therefore, devotional service to the Lord must be pure in quality, that is, without the least desire for material enjoyment. One should therefore accept the superior quality of occupation in the form of devotional service of the Lord, without any tinge of unnecessary desire, fruitive activity, philosophical speculation. This alone can lead one to perpetual solace in his service. So, therefore, and in next purport, he starts with saying, what is dharma? Dharma, meaning of the word dharma is that which sustains one's existence is called as dharma. What is dharma? That which sustains one's existence. Therefore, Kapila says in other verse, we have gone through it, Jivan api mrito hi saha. He says, that means people in this world are living although dead. Living, they're moving about, but actually they're dead. Why? Materially active, spiritually dead. So therefore, that which sustains our spiritual life, our true life, the life of the soul, is actually dharma. And then he says, this dharma, a living being's sustenance of existence, is to coordinate his activities with his eternal relation with the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. Krishna is the central pivot of living beings, and he is the all-attractive living entity or eternal form amongst all other living beings or eternal forms. Yeah, Krishna is the complete whole and everything else is his part and parcel. Now he makes two important points for us to remember. The relation is one of the servant and the served with the Supreme Lord. This is the relationship. And he says it is transcendental and it is completely distinct from our experience in material existence. This relation of servant and the served is the most congenial form of intimacy. Therefore, you find the sages, they're giving up family life and going. Bharat Maharaj gave up family life at the young age. What is that verse? I'm forgetting the verse. It is said he gave up the family life, his queens, his ministers, and everything, and left without looking even once back in attachment. Just like a person after passing stool leaves without looking back at the stool in attachment. Like that it is said. Why? Because the relationship between the living entity and the Supreme Lord, the servant and the served, that relationship is the most congenial form of intimacy. How much intimacy one can have in that relationship cannot be experienced in any kind of relationships of this world. It is not possible. And this is parodharma. So where is the rasa coming for the living entity? By acting in his constitutional position of serving the Supreme Lord. And therefore you will find this dharma is there of the living entity. Dharma means what? That which is most natural to us. The most natural thing for the salt is to be salty. For the sugar is to be sweet. And therefore for us what is most natural? To serve. Sometimes those devotees who do prasadam serving, later on you say, Prabhu, you want to take some prasadam? Oftentimes you hear them saying that, Prabhu, I'm satisfied just by serving. Isn't it? You don't have to be self-realized to know this. Just by service. But the question comes, then why do devotees also feel dissatisfied? I mean, how do we know if we are dissatisfied or not? Or how do we know if we are satisfied or not? People start looking for other things through devotional service. Name and fame. Name, fame, glory, same old story. Is said. So people start looking for these things. People will start looking for how many people are appreciating what I'm doing in bhakti. It doesn't matter what Krishna is appreciating your bhakti. That is sufficient. How nice do I look as a devotee? How beautiful is my tilak? How nice is my shaven head? You know, I mean, you can get more, more primitive than this, but everything will matter, isn't it? His Grace Radha Gopinath Prabhu on Chowpatty Temple was saying, one brahmachari, as he was cracking a joke, I mean, he gave a class, and later on, this brahmachari was talking to another brahmachari, and Radha Gopinath Prabhu happened to overhear the conversation. What was this brahmachari saying? Hey, did you see how many Matajis were looking at me after I cracked this joke? This is what they were discussing. Why? Because not satisfied. When we are not satisfied, we want something outside bhakti. Or we can even use bhakti to get what we want, something else, fulfillment of material desires. And therefore, then what happens? The goal is missed. Goal is no more prema pumarto mahan. Goal again has become mundane. And therefore, the chanting and hearing and chanting process, which is called as the watering the root of Bhakti Lata, now becomes watering to the weeds around. More you water the weeds, not just that they grow, they also restrict the development of Bhakti Lata. Then after a few years spending in the ashram, what do they say? Prabhu, I have some material desires in my heart. I feel I have to go outside and work. You send him outside, he goes completely away from Krishna consciousness, outside of Krishna consciousness only. So all his material desires of past habits, everything revisits. Why? Because he was not satisfied in bhakti. Why wasn't he satisfied in bhakti? Who can say? Yes. Because it was not ahaituki apratiyata. So this is the danger when we do not practice devotional service on its purest platform. That is a time when devotional service will not be satisfactory. So when we perform devotional service on a pure platform, and therefore ahaituki apratihata will be will be best followed when we follow instructions of superiors. Isn't it? If someone says, Prabhu, I like to do kirtan for Krishna, for Krishna is really questionable, isn't it? Because I like to sing, you like to do kirtan. Because I've seen, I mean, though it's not nothing wrong in it, but generally I've seen people like to do that for Krishna what they're good at. And they say, Prabhu, this is the best service. Once Sri Prabhupada was in New Vrindavan, and Sri Prabhupada asked, who is most dear to me, or who is the, something like that he asked, to that effect. All the book distributors were thinking, Prabhupada will say book distribution. What is most dear to him? And all the deity worship devotees were thinking, Prabhupada will say those who decorate the deities. Then all the cooks were thinking, Prabhupada will say those who cook for Krishna. And Prabhupada finally said, if you become a pure devotee, that will be most dear to me. Isn't it? Because generally we like to do that service in which we are good at. But that is not wrong, but we cannot do that all the time. Why? Because it will not lead to that much purification as we would do service which is recommended for us by Guru and which we may not like. That is more purifying. And once Sri Prabhupada asked, he was mentioning in a class, same point, and His Holiness Jayapatak Maharaj went to him and asked, Prabhupada, you have asked me to do preaching and I like preaching. Prabhupada said, so you are fortunate. You don't have to be fortunate all the time. You can be given a service which one may not like. And therefore, pure devotional service goes one step higher than Varnashrama. Varnashrama is what? You do according to your tendencies. You do according to inclination. But pure devotional service is higher. It doesn't matter what my tendency is, because all my tendencies and inclination is according to the body which I've acquired. It is not the inclination of the soul. Isn't it? So whatever Guru says is higher than Varnashrama also. And that's why practicing pure devotional service is called as Parodharma. And this is when Ramananda Rai, when he tells Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is asking, what is the highest thing you know from the Vedic scriptures? Ramananda Rai says Varnashrama, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says Iho Bahya. This is external. Aage kaho ya ar. That means speak something more deeper. Is not doing things according to our inclination. It is good for the neophyte devotees to engage in devotional service by doing what we like. But we cannot be stuck in that position. As we were discussing in one other class, if any time we find we are stuck in devotional service, we are not progressing ahead. Stagnant water stinks. That means the purpose of any rule, any regulation, any ritual, anything is to help us proceed to the next level of pure devotional service. Ultimately, we have to come to the platform of pure devotional service. When we do that, then it is so satisfying, we don't want anything else. Then you will find so many saints, so many, we have Mirabai, you have Andal, you have the great Acharyas, Vaishnava Acharyas. They don't want anything from the Supreme Lord. Isn't it? Like there was one devotee in South India, he was actually completely poverty stricken. But when he had one pair of good clothes, and he would wear these clothes whenever he would go to a temple. Why? Because he felt that when I wear these good clothes and go, then the Supreme Lord will not worry about me. Isn't it? Such nice emotion. Generally, we want to go and ask Krishna, please give me this, give me that. But this devotee wears good clothes to the temple just to, so that the Supreme Lord will not take tension about him. Actually, he is poverty stricken outside. Like that. Why? Because Prabhupada said we are not bread seeking religion, we are bread giving religion. Yashoda Mai is feeding bread, chapatis to Krishna. We don't ask Krishna for bread. Therefore, all the mundane religions become unattractive because people are asking from Krishna. Which religion is there who are selflessly giving to Krishna? Isn't it? And therefore, more satisfying paro dharma, moksha dharma is that which is ahitukya pratihata. To the degree we practice ahitukya pratihata, to that degree we will be satisfied. If we are not feeling satisfied in our hearts, then we have to see, where am I wanting something material from a spiritual process? Isn't it? So in this way you will find in this verse, Prabhupada, therefore in this, if you want to, you can read the purport of Bhāgavatam 1.2.6. Very important purport. We don't want anything from religion. But unfortunately in the external world, religion is simply used for economic development. And in 1.1.2, Prabhupada says the same thing. Prabhupada says even if people are religious today, it's for one reason, because they get their economic development through it. Hanuman, they worship Hanuman. Why? Because you get good body like Hanuman. Isn't it? You worship Lakshmi. Why? You get Lakshmi. You worship Saraswati. Why? You get knowledge. Isn't it? Even if you worship Krishna, they want some material benefits. You worship Shiva. Why? Because you want material prosperity. Worship Durga. So all these things, any kind of worship in any religion has become so mundane that it becomes very unattractive, because they anyway get things without religion. People are rich without religion. Why do you need religion? But are they satisfied? No. Therefore, the purpose of religion is to completely satisfy the self. Yato bhaktiradokshati ahaitukya pratihata yayatma suprasidati. Only then the conditioned soul will be completely satisfied and will go back home, back to Godhead. Without this, the living entity is simply rotting in the material world, staying here for millions and millions of lifetimes, even in the future more. So therefore, this is the true religion. And of course, I couldn't reach the second paragraph where Prabhupada talks about mita medhyadanam shashvat viviktas kshema sevanam. Basically, here Kapila starts speaking about how a yogi should live. A bhakti yogi. These are Kapila's instructions on devotional service. Mita medhyadanam means one should not stuff his body up to the neck or nose with food stuff. One should eat as much, how much of a hunger is, by 2. That much only one should eat. Isn't it? So therefore, when we follow these things, one can be very attentive in chanting. One will be free from diseases. I mean, you cannot remove diseases completely, but as much as possible, he'll be less diseased. Isn't it? Or the severity of disease not much, or the immunity is strong to handle diseases. So Prabhupada talks about Eating less. If someone wants more idea about it, you can read NY purport of first verse of NY, very strong on about eating, about Jiva Vegam Prabhupada gives. And next, other last thing Prabhupada talks about is Vivikta Kshema Sevanam, which means one should stay in a secluded place, and that does not mean bhajan in a secluded place. It does not mean, isn't it? Why? Because Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur, Saraswati Thakur has this beautiful song, Dushtaman Tumi ki sera Vaishnava. In that song, the first verse he says, why do you want to simply hide yourself in a secluded place and say that you want to do bhajan? Because such bhajan in a solitary place is simply to attract pratishtha. Better you do bhajan with other devotees. That is Kali Yuga Dharma. Harinam Sankirtan. With other devotees, not alone, not in our own rooms, not in our own bhajan kutis. This is not Kali Yuga Dharma. This is simply having, see, to know if our hearts are impure, who should give us a certificate? We ourselves know our hearts are impure. We don't need certificate from anyone. So why to simply propagate false dharma, practice false dharma? So therefore, Vivikta Kshema Sevana means stay away from materialistic people, Janasangascha. Give up the Janasangha. And solitary place for us means association of devotees. Mangalarti time, chanting time, Bhāgavatam time, Prasadam time, everything association of devotees. Yes, sometimes in association of devotees also Prajalpa happens. So you can be away from them also. Don't be too much in Prajalpa zone. Isn't it? So therefore that is also Vivikta Kshema Sevanam. And much can be spoken, but there's not much time. We'll stop here if anyone has anything to say or ask.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you for the class. Very nice class. And I was wondering if you could elaborate on this point. Something to think about sometimes is that, one has guru, one has Vaishnavas in their life that they want to please with their service. And so one might pray to the Supreme Lord to get empowerment to do service to please the Vaishnavas or to perform one's duty better. And also it's said that when one is doing bhakti, in order to become absorbed, like we hear that example, Srila Prabhupada is in the car and he's thinking about how much cement they have in New Vrindavan.
Yeah.
Always meditating how to improve the service, how to do the service better, how to create new strategies. And so, does a devotee pray for empowerment in his service, or is that considered to be, spiritual, or is it considered to be asking something from the Lord?
No, of course, if it is to please the Vaishnavas, it is perfect. Like if someone says, let me sing better for Shri Radha Govinda, that is my prayer to Radha Govinda. No problem, the intention is pure. So if the intention is pure, it's fine. But Krishna knows what is our true intention, and therefore Krishna will sanction it or not sanction it. Someone can say, oh Krishna, please sanction this desire that I become a big businessman, most richest in the world, just so that I can construct a new temple for Radha Govinda. Krishna knows how much that prayer is so pure. So to the degree of purity, Krishna will sanction. You may not be so big, but you can be little big, that you can donate good amount of Lakshmi for Radha Govinda's temple construction. That's all. So Krishna knows our intention. If it's pure, Krishna will sanction it. Krishna says, Yoga Kshemam Ahamyaham. For my devotee, I maintain what he has and I carry what he lacks. That means if he's so pure in his intentions, if he needs a skill to, sing bhajan, take the skill. You want to play mridanga, take the skill. You want to speak well, take the skill. You want to speak in another language, take the skill. Devotee doesn't have to put endeavor. Krishna maintains for his pure devotees. Whatever is needed for service, he'll give. But our problem is we are not so pure. Isn't it? So therefore, I've seen so many, like our spiritual masters, what are their prayers? Their prayers are, please keep me in association of devotees. You look at Prahlad. When Narasimha was asking, what do you want? He's asking, please keep me in association of devotees. Dhruva asked for the same thing. Prithu asked for the same thing. Let me be surrounded by Vaishnavas who keep speaking Bhagavad Katha so that I can hear. With millions of ears and millions of tongues, let me chant your holy name. So these are the prayers. That means we don't want anything from Krishna, but we want to please Krishna. That's why we can always pray, keep me close to you, engage me in your service. That's the best prayer. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Grantra Srimad Bhāgavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki Nitai Gaur Premanande.